Hi, Mizzy Max here, and today I will be playing an original song part of the 100 Songs in 100 Days, and it is called Burn. I did have to pick a song that I know better because I have had a really big day. I started at 6 o'clock this morning. I have worked for two different clients, and yeah, now I only just got home after going to a concert. So, yeah, I have just sat down and I am ready to go. And the other thing today we'll be discussing having a childlike mind and remember to keep that as an adult, which will then help influence in being able to open up that part of your mind and what sorts of things you need to think and possibly do in regards to helping that open up your creativity. So I'll play the song first and then I'll get onto that. Anyway, the song is called Burn. And that's not it. Sorry. I'm killing you 'cause you deserved it. I'll take you down to the water. I'm watching you. So tell me your lies so that I can let it be. And I will wait next to you. And I'll take you down to the water. I'm watching you. And I'll take you down to the river. I'm watching you. Oh, I'm watching you burn. Just one more shot, so you got. So it better be all the best, and you can too. So tell me your lies so that I can let it be. Tell mama I will wait next to you. I'll take you down to the water. I'm watching you. I'll take you down to the river. I'm watching you. Oh, I'm watching you I'll take you down to the water. I'm watching you. I'll take you down to the river. I'm watching you. Oh, I'm watching you burn, watching you burn, just watching you, watching you burn. Yeah. How's everyone doing tonight? I hope you are all good. It is Friday, so I'm assuming people are out having fun, which should be good, but I am here in my room, which is fun for me. Um, oh, hello. Hey, Saz. How you doing? Sorry I didn't sing that one. I usually sing it in a little bit higher, but I hadn't warmed up or anything, so I wasn't going to attempt to do any screaming at the moment. Or not screaming, but loud. And also, I wasn't sure how the sound went. I hope that if anyone's watching at the moment, can you let me know if the guitar was dropping in and out and how that sounded for you guys? Because I think I need to set something up in here that makes it look like so where I can see my own live back, but that may also clash with the sound that's already happening. Fretnix, hello again and good morning to you. It is again night here for me on a Friday. So today I wanted to talk about having a childlike mind in discussion with in using that for your creativity and helping yourself get forward and helping find that part of yourself that can help bring out the creativity. So the first place I want to start with in this in the discussion is you remember when you were little and you would come up with a game with your friends. If you had, sorry, if you didn't have friends when you were little, sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. But at the times that I did when I was really little, we would play games, right? And we'd come up with games. And in the games, I would say to my friends that I think I would be like maybe 5 or 6, but I'd say to my friends that I want to be a teenager. So just pretend for a second that I'm a teenager, except I came out just like a baby, except I was a baby. So I just came out of my mum, except I'm 13 years old. I don't know what that means now, but I did definitely know what that meant then. And that's always what I wanted to be for some reason. I wanted to be a baby teenager, and that made sense to me. But also, I was a very odd child. I dressed like a dinosaur all the time. And here's a story. And I was also a cocky. So I'd go around going all the time. And I had a dinosaur tail, except not only did I have a dinosaur tail that I'd walk around the school with that I refused to take off for at least 6 years. Right. So hi Kane, how you doing? And hi Craig, how you going as well? So dinosaur tail, and my nan had made it for me and had little spikes on it, and they were pink and purple. And then I also listened to Hampton and the Hamsters a lot. If you don't know who that is that band that came up with that song back in the 90s. I think it came out. It would have been, in the 90s. And it was like, dee ba dee ba do do, dee ba dee dee do, dee ba dee 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 do, ba dee ba dee do, yeehaw. They had 2 albums and 3 film clips, all as little hamsters. And I know it very well. There was, maybe I don't. Hampton was the main hamster. And then there was, I think her name was Dido or Dido, and she was a little grey hamster. Dixie was the country hamster, and Fuzzy was the other boy hamster in the band. I'm pretty sure they set up their music as they would play the song and then put it at full speed or extra speed to make the hamster sounds. So in doing that, I was a dinosaur, fell in love with that album, and I was also a hamster. So I was a hamster dinosaur. I used to walk around like this and have my front teeth out like this. And I used to move around like that all the time. And then because I thought that I was Dixie, I also had a country accent. So I'd always talk like this, and I'd go around everywhere in a really high-pitched voice and talking like a hamster with my teeth out and a dinosaur tail. So I did that for about 5 years of doing this one and having my teeth out like that all the time, which then once I got to about 12, 13, I had to go into high school because in Victoria we start year 7 at 13. And because it wasn't cool, as you do start to get dragged into things, I had to stop doing this, but I was stuck like this. I'd been doing it for so long, holding myself like that the whole time, that I got stuck like a dinosaur. And Kiss Tracy was definitely one of the bands at the time too. So yeah. And so I'd be at the front of the school, and I got called up for school assembly or something like that, or I think maybe in the choir. I really didn't like being in the choir. I'd be like this, and I'd have to try and keep my arms down and start forcing myself to pull my teeth in and put my arms down. Except when I'd be standing at the front of the class, I would stand there, and slowly, without me even noticing, I would start becoming this again and start moving around like that. So that took me a long time to get out of doing that, to be cool. All right. So then later on as an adult, it came back, which is good. And I wanted it to come back because in Step Brothers, where the guy's like, don't lose your dinosaur. I lost my dinosaur. And he's like, that's exactly what he's talking about. And the same thing at the end of Step Brothers was the moral of that story was stop, like, don't ever stop acting like a kid. So basically, in doing that, that is where the imagination that I feel like a lot of people as adults we lost due to having to get jobs and do what the system said. Like especially in school, we'd be sitting there and we'd be told to stop daydreaming and listen, which is, you're supposed to listen, but a lot of us probably didn't at the time. And then we started listening, and then we started sitting up straight and doing everything that we're told. And when we're writing down in our like little books and stuff, we'd start doodling and drawing some really cool pictures. And then again, we'd be told not to do that anymore and told to stop doing that and concentrate on what the teacher is writing really blandly up on the board and sit there and repeatedly write whatever the lines were, copying them down, not really taking anything in. Well, I didn't, because my brain would still be off somewhere else again. So in regards to that, we have to try and remember that feeling that we had when we were little, when we were excited for Christmas, when we were excited for like any little day where there would be something good. Kids always remember the small things that are really good, and now we've become adults, we have forgotten those things. So that's the sort of feeling that you need to be tapping into to help bring out your creativity, as it does really help. And so what I would suggest in doing is trying to figure out as an adult what you were like as a kid, what you used to dress like, what you used to be like. Oh, yay, awesome. The sound was good. Okay, so it was that. I'll get back into what I just fixed in a sec. But so this is where at the start of the 100 days when I was doing the thing, I didn't know who I was anymore. I'd been through some bad relationships where I felt that I had to change to make someone else happy so that I wouldn't stop being treated a certain way. And I completely lost myself. The only thing I could think of thinking was just being in a white room and wearing white. And once that started happening, I knew something was wrong. Because in some of the rooms that I'd have, I'd start trying to build something like this because I sort of knew what I wanted, but I still didn't know. And then I didn't know if I wanted to do rock because I was told to do rock. I was told to do this. And I wanted to make everyone else happy. So I started to become all these different things that I didn't want to be. And then it got so mashed together that I'd totally forgotten. So back on day one at the 100 days, I'm sort of wearing something different, and I hadn't really worked out what it was I wanted to be, and everything was just becoming a giant mush. So I stopped doing music for a while because I wasn't enjoying it anymore, because I was trying to do what everyone else wanted me to, and you can never please anybody else. So in the end, I gave up, and then I just thought that I would do something scary, which was getting my music out there, which I didn't really want anyone to see exactly what all of this is now and what it's become. And so in doing the 100 days, I slowly found myself in what I wanted to do by putting what I was scared of out there, and taking those risks, and that is where you find it. So even if it's like the smallest thing that you can find in yourself that you know you like, that you remember that you used to like as a kid. I know that I used to like being, kind of silly and fun. So I tried to bring that back. Didn't really lose that. Luckily, I always remember to. So when you're talking to kids, they're always so fun and happy, and they do something silly. And the other thing is they're always moving their body around because their body feels like moving. Just move. If that ever happens, move your body. It actually it feels really good to do that. Yes, Kate, I can see you saying that. Tell me what you do for job. I am in disability work, yes. But I don't really go and meet people, to be honest. I'm not much of a person that goes out of my room much, unless it's like for gigs and stuff and other events. But I'm quite an introvert. Even though I seem like I might be an extrovert, I'm actually quite introverted. So I don't particularly go to people's places and jam as such. So in regards to that, so after the 100 days, at the end of it, this is what it started looking like before I moved on to the next thing. I found myself again, and it wasn't in doing country. It wasn't in doing rock. It wasn't in doing pop. It was doing all of it. And again, in the music industry, they also put you in a box. I remember when I started and I was working with a label when I was little, they wanted me to shave all my head off into a blonde mohawk, and we sang pop songs, basically. So that was where it started straight back then. So if you can remember like little things when you were little that you absolutely loved, that's the sort of stuff you need to go back to and remember. Remember who you are, and dress the way you want to, and take those risks. It's always about taking risks. The more risks that you take, and I don't mean bad risks, I mean risks in things that you know are scary. That's where you got to move forward on those things, the things that you really want to be and do. If you're in that job that you're working 9 to 5 and you feel like you can do something more, guess what? You can. I was also working in a 9 to 5 job. I was even working before I was a support carer, doing disability support worker. I was a support worker cleaner. I used to go and clean people's houses. And I've had many other little jobs like that. But I've always tried to keep moving forward, and then I'd be thrown back and then start again. But it wasn't until I actually spent a year and a half on my own was when, and without anyone sort of telling me what to do, I got so lost, and then I found myself, and then being brave, and then getting all the songs out there and doing that sort of thing was what helped me find myself. So now I've got all these cute little things everywhere. It's all pink and black, and it's exactly the way I imagined it would be if I were to do it on my own. And now I am, and I'm really happy, and I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. And with my music, I'm not deciding on what I'm going to do yet, because I still don't know. So I'm not just going to pounce on the next thing. And all through my music career, I was always, there was always that person coming up to you that was like, oh, I can help you. I can do this for you. I can do that for you. And then you'd be like, hell yeah, I'm going to be famous. So I'd go along with that, and then end up back where I started again and again and again, because I would listen to that excitement and get too excited and blindsided by the idea of all this greatness. But it doesn't happen that way, which is what I've realized now, is that it doesn't happen by someone else making it happen for you. You have to make it happen yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to end up walking through life blind and just listening to everybody else, and you're going to lose yourself. So now, if you're anywhere that you feel like you shouldn't be, or you don't want to be, don't be. Make those choices to move forward. And yes, it's scary, and yes, there's all those thoughts around it, like, I can't do that. I'm not that person. I will be making other videos, and also Ceci, who does confidence coaching and she also looks after some of my social media as well. She does podcasts on boosting confidence too, which is really good. So both of us are kind of at it, trying to help everyone do what it is that they love doing, or if they do have something small that they want to start doing. This is where the best boy got a little group called 100 Days of Play, where you can go and do something small, even if it's your thing is drawing, or it's playing guitar, or something completely different. If you wanted to even be a lawyer and you feel like you can't, there is always a way, as long as you believe that you can do it. I know that sounds really lame and cliche, but from what I've learned, it is very true. You have to be able to work out how to do it on your own and for yourself, and trying to get at the start, when you are starting out on your own, listen to yourself and try and find that part of your brain where it will guide you. And it's like, once you start doing something, the universe meets you halfway. Whether people believe that in that or not, I don't know. But there's this cute little story that my mum used to tell me. Please just be myself. Craig has said, please just be yourself, young lady. Your energy has woken this old man. Susie Q. I love Susie Q. Oh, hi, David, as well. Sorry, I haven't looked over at my messages. I am well. I am very good. Actually, I'm probably the happiest I've ever been in my whole entire life. I have done a lot of work to get here, and that's why I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, so that other people can do this, because I have been through a lot my whole life. I might get into that later on, but to be able to get here where I am extremely grateful every single day. When I look around this room, and when I look around everything that I have and the people that I'm surrounded by, I am probably like one of the luckiest people in the world to be where I'm at. And how I got here, I sort of just started, and that's the thing. I just started, and now it's here, which is really good, and it's still going. And I'm just taking every day a step at a time. And every day is scary. It was extremely scary at the start, but I never believed that I could ever be where I am now at all. Not once did I ever think it was possible. But it just sort of started happening day by day by day by day, as I kept pushing forward and kept trying, and found what I loved doing. And sometimes you can't find what it is you love doing, but at least if you start telling yourself that it is something you would like, your subconscious will start kicking into gear and start telling you what it is you would like to do, or it probably already is and it's being ignored. So that's something that's always there inside of us that we can find. You got to be that dinosaur, and you got to be that little crazy soul sometimes, and just break out of what society has bashed into us and bashed us down, which is what is, that's sort of what happens. And I feel like everyone's going through that at the same time. So, that's what we got to do. Is the audio off for anyone else? I don't think so. Hello. Can you hear me? I believe everyone else can hear me. Do I get subtitles under my stuff when I talk on Facebook on live? I would like to know that. So that's my little spiel today. And sorry, just one more story before I go. I wanted to tell you the story that my mum says, and it does sound a little bit from the Christian side of things, but it's not supposed to be either way. But if it is, it is. So basically, how the universe works with this sort of thing, what I believe how it works is, there was this guy, and God said to him, "You're going to win the lottery." And he said, "Yeah, I'm going to win the lottery." And the lottery was the next day, and it went past, and he didn't win. And then he went to God, and he's like, "God, why didn't I win the lottery?" And he says, well, you got to buy a ticket. So that's pretty much it. You got to start meeting it halfway. So I really love that story. But it is very true. And starting out, like I have Kiss behind me as well, because when I was little, my mum would tell me the story about how Kiss started. And look, I don't know if she knows it was true or not. I haven't actually looked it up to see if it was true, but I think a lot of bands end up going through that, or people starting out anyway, which I sort of touched on a little bit last night. But when Kiss first started out, they were the same as most musicians, same as Elvis Presley that I've known, that I've heard of, had the same situation. And I think, as you can see on, actually it didn't seem to happen to Queen, but Elton John from that movie, where they were, they start somewhere and they get booed off stage. They get kicked out of bars, kicked out of clubs, they get booed off, and then they come back even harder and they keep coming back harder again. So these guys, they started dressing up and looking even cooler. And I think they also did this thing, again, I'm not 100% on my facts here, but even when they were a small band, and I'm not 100% sure it was them. I get my stories mixed up very easily. But I'm pretty sure before they were even famous or anything, they would rock up to the gig in a limousine and then get out of the limousine, probably to like not much of a crowd, an empty band. Just started creating that fun and that play, and that's what I'm talking about. It's it's what you can imagine in your head and just do it anyway. I think it's sort of called fake it till you make it in a way. It's where you pretend to be something you're not till you convince yourself that you are. And it actually does work. And then the sort of things start happening around you because you start believing it. So then you start seeing it and your brain does this thing. It's that same thing where you've never driven. All of a sudden you're driving some other car, then you buy a Mazda, and then all of a sudden you're noticing every Mazda on the road because it's something that's now come into your brain that you see every day. And that's the same thing that what happens when you tell yourself certain things is if you tell yourself you're ugly and gross, when you go out into the world, people treat you that way, and you also come across that way. Not that you're meaning to, but and that makes you even more scared. So then it just reiterates that sort of feeling and that happening around you. But if you change your mind and you tell yourself that you are for me it was a famous rock star or something like that, right? And then you start acting like that, and not at the start, obviously, but you do cute little things. Like you buy the limousine before you get it. I know Jim Carrey did it before he was famous. He used to go and drive up to the awards nights and things like that when he was no one in some beat up car. And he would keep doing it until he actually got there, which is really cool. So there are really good stories like that of people playing, I like to call it, and making up games and, building forts, basically. You want to live in a castle when you're a kid, you'd build a fort out of cardboard and you'd pretend you're in a castle. It's the same thing, and it does work. Well, I feel it works. There's still some things I would like to test with it and have some really cool ideas and things that I feel help me with that sort of thing. And this is my little fort that I've built and my little castle, and that's what I call playing, and it's really fun, and you just become the little character or the Barbie doll or whatever it is that you want it to be. That's what you start dressing like. That's who you start being like. That's who you start acting like. And Ceci was telling me about this other, like if you're into meditation, there's a really good technique where you meet your future self, however you would think that would look like, before you go to sleep. You go into the meditation and basically you try and see what it would be like for you to be that person that you would like to be, and then meeting them like 3 years or 4 years in the future and seeing what they would look like. What would they dress like? What would they act like? What is their lifestyle like? What are the people they have around them? And all those questions you ask yourself, and then see if you can imagine. And this is where you get to use your imagination, which is one of the funnest places you can be. And that's where you can use your imagination to pretend that you are that person. And then when you come awake from it, pretend you are that person now, and do things differently. Dress the way that you feel that person would be. Act the way that person would be. Would they sit up straight? Do they stand up straight? How do they talk? It won't happen straight away, but if you keep every morning you wake up and you keep reminding yourself of what that would look like, and then and being that person as best you can, then slowly it will start happening for you, which I think is one of the coolest things that I've noticed, that where life can actually be kind of magical. And sometimes I don't believe it because it seems a little bit surreal that there is those sorts of things out there, that humans may have some really cool connection to something else. I really love that idea. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it's better than just thinking that there's just death and then nothing else, Or my favorite theory is, I think it's called the egg theory, which has got to do with everyone being one and part of some huge universal connection, I think is pretty cool. And everyone's just here to learn a different experience, but we need so many different experiences to help make this bigger connection grow that we're all part of, which some people refer to as what God is. So that's sort of where I'm at. Okay, audio is on, so that's good. And David Barry has said, conquered some of your fears. I have conquered a lot of my fears. Missing all my sorry, Paula said, missing all my sorry, I can't read that word. Valuable insights here. Must just be my end. All good. Okay, I think that's just the sound. Sorry about that. But once I think once the video is back up, it does. Once I finish, then it does come up with subtitles if you want to look back on it. So making sure that we do play with that part of our brain that does exist. It is an imagination thing that we are born with, and it really does help with just making life that little bit more enjoyable, which I absolutely love, being able to tap into that and play with it all the time. I'm always pretty silly, and a little bit, and sometimes I talk like a kid a lot, but I don't know, I think that might be something else. I've sort of always done it since I was 4, and I think my cousin actually did it too a little bit at that age. So I always like to play, because we are gonna die one day, which is inevitable for everybody unless that AI thing takes over and we all get a cute little chip that keeps us alive forever. But I don't think that's gonna happen in my lifetime somehow. But everyone else below us, they will be able to do it maybe. But if that were a thing, hi Tim, good morning. I am about to finish, so you may just missed it. Sorry. But thank you for tuning in anyway. Again, I'll be back at 9 o'clock tomorrow night on Saturday. So it's all about just having fun and making sure you can always have fun, as best you can. And if you can't, then if you haven't been able to see that part of yourself or be able to find it, try and remember how you felt when you were a kid and see if you can, as an adult, usually the sunset makes me really happy too, and you can sometimes get this feeling like it's Christmas the next day. And when that happens, I get really afraid of death. So I used to not care about it, and now because I'm happy and I found my happiness, and I'm not saying happiness is always there, because it can't be. Happiness won't always be there. It's going to be down here and it's going to be up here. Otherwise you wouldn't notice that there's happy if you didn't have a low. So it's very important that you have both, and life is going to do that to you anyway. It's going to go the whole way through. But it's when that stuff does sort of happen, you just sort of accept it and see if you can find the good in bad situations. Because I've noticed that life, when it needs you to move forward, once you have start progressing and it starts noticing you changing, it tends to throw something really hard and fast at you to knock you straight off your pedestal and smash you to the ground. However, when that does happen, I have also noticed that bad situation has actually put you in a completely other different situation that is now your progression level, and that's where it goes up. So the bad actually can sometimes be a sign of extreme change that needed to happen so that you can progress to the next thing. For example, where I am right now, I was living somewhere completely different in a completely different situation, but I would wake up every day, and I was really sad, but I started with starting off with something really small, like just telling myself that I had a whiteboard, because I used to wake up in the middle of the night and be really sad, just because I was so lost and I didn't feel like I really had anything happening for me, and I wanted to do my music but I couldn't, and all those things like that. I knew that going back to writing on my whiteboard, so at least in the middle of the night when I wake up, I have it right next to my face where I'd roll over, and instead of being sad, I'd force myself to read what I'd written on there, which were things like, you deserve more than you know, you are loved, you will be loved, you'll be able to get your music forward, but more stuff that was already intense. So it's like, you are a musician, you will be able to make it, you can make it, and you have a beautiful circle around you of people that support you. So I wrote all those things out, and then some intense circumstances happened during that time, and I had to leave that house, and then because of that, and then I was living in a caravan park, and now I get to be here. So that really bad situation now became something really good, and that led me to where I am now, because I was working and improving on myself, which then led to the 100 days. Because I also quit drinking, but I still have a random 2 drinks somewhere randomly, but I don't feel like I need alcohol anymore, which is good because I was drinking too much at the time. So I moved on from that as well. And then, And Tim is here, says, not sure if you've done this already on your live today, but if you're playing live, what song is the one that has helped, affected, healed, impacted, and brought the most joy to others? Play it here. Okay, there is one song. I'll play a little bit of it because it is a bit of a long song. And I'll just finish what I was saying before I do, which I forgot what that was anyway. That was, so just keeping that in mind. And then, when bad things happen, they're not necessarily for the bad. And my mum always taught me to say, in any bad situation, this has happened for a reason and something good will come out of this. So I always say that to myself in the worst situations. And guess what? I end up finding something good that happened out of it. And it really does work. So this song I wrote when I was 17, I think. And I was in a really bad relationship then as well. Maybe 18, one of those abusive ones that we love. And I'll just do the first verse and a chorus. And I hope this still sounds good. Okay, sorry, Al, I'll come back to that. Just give me 1 second. This song's called Beautiful. Everything that they want me to be. Is it possible to do the impossible? And if it is, I'll change myself so they love me. And it might break my heart, but they'll love me. What is beautiful, when way deep down it's what everyone wants to be. And if this world was blind, then maybe I'd be perfect, when the inside is the only thing we see. So close your eyes just for me, and beautiful's what you will see. And I'll close my eyes just for you. You will be beautiful too. That little bit at the start, every time I sing that, I was like, gets me all a bit emotional, that one. So sorry, I was back to you, mate. I know he says, I know what you mean. I gave up dating, but now I get 50 ladies and girls after me to go from the USA to Victoria, Queensland? No, sorry, I don't know what Vic, QLO. And 2 just up from the road, I say I'm 60, yeah, but you have 10 kids, tells me all. But yeah, exactly. As long as, like, especially for men, it is a very big thing for men. You don't even have to be good looking, but if you can find your confidence, that suddenly makes you attractive in any way. Even if it's just standing up straight and like posture is very important. It just makes you look more confident even when you're not. And also, just the way you talk. And it's called peacocking. If you can peacock, which means usually dressing in extravagant, like even extravagant clothes. Some guys just wear a suit, but otherwise, you can wear a weird looking hat, like a cowboy hat, always adds something, So it's a lot easier for men to be able to do that. Us women have a lot more issues because we are taught to, wear makeup and everything from straight up. That's what we're taught. Especially you've got Barbie dolls and all these other things that influence, it's very sexualized for us girls. And then once you get to a certain age, then we're unattractive, but men are able to have this thing where, they've got the silver fox and all these other things. So men, you got a little bit more of advantage on that confidence thing there. You're very lucky in that way. And Tim says, "You rock, Mizzy. Thank you so much. Yay." And beautiful mind, beautiful. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. And thank you, Gary, also for being here for a while now. I appreciate your support and always supporting, which has been really nice. So thank you. And also thank you everyone else that's been here too, because we have the best little support group, which I absolutely love. And Tim says, "Keep loving the world with your song." I will, and I will continue to love the world. And I am loving the world. I didn't used to, but now I do. Now I'm excited for it because I'm not putting any pressure on anything. I'm just going with what I feel like, which helps get in touch with that inner self, and that inner mind is not putting pressure on myself. And I still go back some days where I forget that why I'm doing this, and I go back to that old brain mindset where I start putting too much pressure on myself and being like, you're not good enough, and but that's going to come and go. But every time I try and train myself to go back, train my brain to think nice things and try and go back to not thinking like that. But it does keep cutting in and out, which is part of the process of trying to eliminate those thoughts. But it will take a long time, and it does take a long time, especially when they start right from when you're little, depending on the environment you've been brought up in. It can start at a very small age and then continue on, and you don't even notice it's happening, or it did happen, which is also interesting. Put your face on a shirt and wear it loud and proud. I'm already having trouble putting Mizzy Max on a shirt, and I saw and someone was wearing one, and it was absolutely gorgeous. And then there's little Maximus Primes on the cups and stuff. And when I see that, I don't know how to feel. It is really beautiful, and I love it. And I used to have that when I was in the band. Had the old band logo and everything, which was a lot easier because it's like, hey, it's not all about it's not just me, and I love that. But now that it is having my name on people's shirts is interesting. It's going to take me a while to get used to that. I feel very, it makes me feel very arrogant and self-centered, which is not what I'm trying to get across here. In fact, it's the complete opposite from what I'm trying to say, and not trying to, do that sort of stuff. But that's just how it feels. I don't know. But I know maybe from other people's perspective, it's nice, and they are supporting me, which is fantastic. And I love that. But yeah, just at the moment, until I start getting used to that sort of thing. And there are other things that say, it's like, oh, you should do this. We could do this. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to do that because I'm not ready to have that. And she had to do the same thing with me with the merch. And she's like, it's okay. You're allowed to feel like that. But this is something we will need to be doing and such and such. So she's always there to kind of stop me from feeling like I'm feeling like that. Again, those are the things that I have. Those are my issues, and those are things that I will need to work on as I move forward, especially if I'm going to be a musician, right? You have to be able to be okay with having your name on things and get used to that without trying to, hurt yourself and put yourself down. So as I'm doing this, and the really cool thing about doing 100 days of something, it does slowly change things. It really does, because you're facing fears. When you face fears, you get rewarded. It is quite amazing. It's terrifying, and you won't notice it at first, but it does come back sevenfold. It always does. Especially when it comes to working on yourself, because you work on here, your world starts working around you, because usually they say the 5 closest people to you are a reflection of yourself. And it may not be in every aspect that you see in them, but there are some things that usually are related. Look, I don't know if that's true or not. That's just something I've read as well. And everyone's got different ideas on how the brain works and how things work. Some are, scientifically backed up. And one of the ones are being able to change your mindset. That is backed up with science. And it's got to do with, I'm not very good at explaining it, but it's got to do with neuron pathways and brain clusters that are full of thoughts and sending signals back and forth through things. They can cluster basically and go down a different pathway, which is why you can change what you're thinking, and you can change you basically can change who you are in a way. And the other thing is, before I go, I just want to mention about what you were in the past and who you were in the past, and things that have happened do not make up who you are now. And they can affect if you keep going back to the past and thinking of those bad things that are hurting you. And you can, the best thing to do is you can work through them if you would like to face them, if you're brave enough to face them. If they really hurt, we tend to not want to look at them ever again because it makes you want to cry, and it is really hard. But if you can face those things and try and find a way and realize where bad thoughts are coming from in your brain, where you tell yourself certain things, everyone tells themselves different things because everyone's lives are completely different. So just remember when you do meet someone and maybe they're a little bit not the right person that you like, or you don't get along with them, that's okay. But just remember that everyone has had a completely different life, and we do not understand, really. We don't know what anyone's been through. We don't know who they are. We've never experienced something that someone else has experienced, so we'll just never know. So I always try to treat as many people as I can with the uttermost respect, as best that I can, just because I like to see people as little babies and they're just all fresh. So yeah, it's always nice, and I try to think the best as well. Well, we all should try. You can't always. Some people are just assholes. Sorry, but true sometimes. But I still like to try and think of good ways to see them. It's important. Okay. Alice, I'm like herpes. once I'm what once I'm hard to get out. You need a doctor. What? I get call out in the street. It's a joke, but my mates as their mascot. I'm not sure I get that exactly. I think because I'm reading, I'm not great at thinking at the same time. One thing to remember, if you have to get permission to use their image as Pop Cult Killer did for my shirt. Whose image are you? Did someone make someone else's shirt out of their face? It's probably a good idea to ask for permission. I guess in that circumstance, if I've got that right, I maybe read that wrong. And that sounds like good advice. Thank you, Gary. I'm trying to do my best. Look, I don't know much, but this is just stuff that works with me, and stuff that I've read in the past from the books that I've read, and the things that I like to read about. And also what I'm trying to tell people what has worked for me as I slowly do. Like, I'm not even anything at the moment. I'm still building. But I'm just going to keep trying anyway. It's fun, and I'm having fun with it, and it's also extremely challenging and hard, but I enjoying that too. It's good to push past that, because then you get to have that really good feeling after you've done something that frightens you. Then you go and do it, and then you get to be all happy after. Sometimes I'm not. It says life stretches after we meet. No bagaggies needed. What? Life stretches after we meet. No bagaggies. I'm not sure. Gary, I woke up this morning to Mizzy Max and a thunderstorm. Thank you. It's been so hot and dry. Oh, I love thunderstorms. They terrify me, but I absolutely love them. I nearly got struck by lightning one time. It was terrifying. I was up on a roof and it was raining, and I was right next to an a metal pole, and the lightning struck and everything just went black and white. And then this whole part of my body got heated up. And then I was shaking like this for like 3 hours after. And then I wet the bed that night. And I haven't wet the bed since I was like 4. So obviously I got some kind of hectic shock of sorts. I don't know what it did to my body, but something happened. Didn't actually get struck, but definitely felt the heat. It was pretty crazy and very dangerous. And I won't be getting on any roofs anytime soon when it is a thunderstorm or raining, because that was all just dumb. How's the Aussie from the Olympic Games? Which one? Because I'd heard people talking about that cute little skateboarder that was like 14 that I'm pretty sure got a gold medal. That was pretty cool. I haven't really been watching the Olympics. I haven't really had time, unfortunately, but I have been hearing that. I think we're third at the moment, which is really cool. But we have a smaller country, so being third is actually pretty radical for us, I reckon. Now it's cool and wet. Oh, nice. Yeah, I love the rain. We haven't had rain here. Oh, we've had bits and pieces, but we haven't had a storm yet. Usually happens, and we get floods up in Queensland, especially where I've been through 2 the last. Oh wait, no, I was in Victoria for one of those years. It's been flooding a lot here lately. Yeah, and absolutely, it was definitely a close one. Very dangerous and very scary also. But I still love storms. I hate the really loud thunderstorms where it like totally shakes the whole house. That's a bit frightening, but still love it. I actually, I'm one of those people that listen to rain sounds when they go to sleep, or what do they call it? Like vibration sounds or something like that. The brown sound. Nah, joking. The brown sound. Hilarious. Best ever games for Australia. Yep, probably should be watching that. Um, I've got a funny story on this like information, but I don't know if this is appropriate. But apparently, because I think how many? Oh, damn, I can't even remember how many Olympians there are. I think there are 10,000, all up. Maybe I've heard this information through somebody else, so I'm not 100% sure. But 10,000, and apparently they have supplied them with like what was it? I'm not gonna get this right, but 300,000 condoms. Can imagine why. Trying to keep each other. They're not allowed to leave the village, from what I've heard, because of the contamination of being able to get access to like different enhancement drugs and stuff like that. So they have to stay where they are. And because like I was thinking, you're meeting someone there that is living the exact same lifestyle as you and already have something completely in common. There's your perfect partner, isn't it? Like you're going to be able to go back and be like, what do you want to do today? It's like train for the Olympics. Like, yeah, you don't want to do that for the next 4 years. Oh yeah, that'd be great, right? You eat the same foods, do the same things. Why not? Best place to find your partner, I guess. All right, on that note, terrible note, I keep getting little notifications in my head. But yeah, so I will love you and leave you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight and listening to my babbles. I super appreciate it. And I hope you guys all have a really good Friday. And I'll see you tomorrow night. See you guys. Bye. Wasn't so fun.